In to the Talking Stick episode number 14, live on Instagram. And then you can also check out the podcast on all podcasts. This guy's all wild platforms, yeah.
We finally got it up on like podcast out there.
It's on Spotify, Apple Music. She acts like she knows what she's talking about.
Okay.
But anyway, episode number 14 with Korina and yeah. So I'm gonna get that situated right now, and you could give a little bio.
No, well, I'll just say we've just been just still working on sewing up stuff, taking care of orders, and just working on behind the scenes stuff. Go ahead, Jimmy.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and link up.
Indigenous fashion. Going good, Sam?
Good, Sam. Hi.
Check audio. Getting ready to go.
It's still connecting.
Still connecting.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Oh, we just have to get the kids situated, and we're good. We're good now.
You got done with speech class?
Yeah, my daughter's in speech therapy, so we had to she just finished her class right now. We were just around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forgot she had it. I was like, whoops. So we're just gonna have to rush through everything for the kids.
Oh,
that's all right. It happens, mom stuff. But thank you so much for joining. I've been following you for a while. I love your work. I love what you stand behind it, why you do it. And so I just knew you would be the perfect person to have on here. Again, thank you for coming on here and taking your time outside of your work.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I've enjoyed us talking throughout quarantine just about work and everything. So
yeah,
it's a good support having you guys, but yeah.
It's been crazy how it all started off, like when we started talking to each other, and yeah, it's just been like work ever since, since we started speaking, or pretty much since the pandemic started. That's when we've all been really busy. How have you been doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm tired. I'm good. I just working a lot.
Yeah, I know,
So.
like that's it, like, oh, how are you? What's going on? No, just work, working.
But I'm grateful.
Right?
Work
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
That's a
intro.
focus on that.
So let me go ahead and we're gonna introduce ourselves, and then we'll get to you. So hi everybody.
Okay.
I'm Yendi Nieto. I'm Cachiquel Maya from my mom's side. I'm Mexican from my dad's side.
Yeah, Johnny Nieto from the Tule River Tribe. Jackson Nieto, tribal member from Tule River Tribe, and Yanessa will be in and out, running around. Welcome.
And today's guest is Korina. If you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hail, Tuagwalapu, Taisha, Disayaya, Chellup, Korina Emmerich, Zeetstats, Puyallup, Popshud, Slasha Alta Lenape Hoking. So I'm Korina Emmerich. I am Puyallup, and my mother is white. And I now live in Lenape Hoking, which is on the occupied Canarsie territories, which also known as Brooklyn, New York. So I've lived here for about 12 years now. But I'm originally from the Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
And you are a fashion designer. You have your own brand. And how did you get started into fashion, or when did you start your business?
So I wanted to be a clothing designer since I was a kid. Eighth grade, I decided that I was going to be a fashion designer. And I had originally wanted to be an artist. Like, my dad was an art teacher when I was growing up. Okay. So it was something that was always around. And I always said, I want to be an artist. And I thought, how can I be an artist and still make money? And so I picked fashion, which I don't know if that was the right decision. But no, I really enjoy it. I was really lucky. I got to go to college, and so I went to the Art Institute
Cool.
in Portland. Sorry, I get so many text messages and calls. I'm just hoping they don't interrupt this. But yeah, so I went to school for apparel design and then moved to New York shortly after. And I've been working on my line ever since. So I guess like technically, I've had a business since 2015. But this is the first year it's like my full-time job, which is really exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's good. That's a big win right there when small business owners can take that on and say like that's my full-time
That big
job.
step, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not easy, guys. It's not easy. Just like we were saying, it's work 24/7. But that's pretty cool. That's awesome. You were able to go to school for that and learn. Did it open up your eyes to like a whole different like world when you went into school and learned? Or what did you take from that?
Yeah, school was interesting. I think like I'm really more creative, technical. So like this, like going and all that stuff was kind of really difficult for me to catch on, because I don't have like, a math brain at all. I'm very more creative.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that I was so grateful to learn, and I had really good teachers who were really patient with me. I didn't pass all my so like if you fail a class, like it's okay, keep going. It sucks, you but like keep going, and you can figure it out. But I guess that was the biggest thing in school. But yeah, I think it's not been since recently when I kind of just decided that I don't have to focus so much on like the technical aspect to be a designer, which is funny now because I actually do own construction and I pass that off to some employees if I can actually start hiring more people. But yeah, so that's been the biggest challenge for me this whole, but yeah.
I can relate to you. I'm self-taught, but I took a small course with it's this small fashion school. They have one in New York as well. Mood. They were offering a small pattern making class, and they had one in LA. So I was driving back and forth, and they were teaching me how to make the patterns. And when the teacher, she's awesome. She was explaining how to take the measurements, if you need to bring it down, make it smaller, this and that. And I was like, okay, I get you. But when it comes to like me doing it, or sometimes I couldn't understand it, I was like, wait, can you like please explain it to me? It's like the third time I'm asking you, but I'm just not, it's not clicking. I'm more of a like, I need to cut a little bit here, cut a little bit there. I put it on you. It fits. Okay, we got it. I was like, let me just sew it up here for you. And that's how I've learned. And so going in and trying to learn the technicality of it all and how it's supposed to go, I was like, that's how it's supposed to go. But it's like, it would still take me a minute to learn it and understand it and try to apply it after that.
Plenty of scissor tests around my neck.
No.
But like for real, it's important to have that like hands-on experience and doing it, and that you're not just like off to someone else, because you learn how you do it and how like, and that's a part of the craft, right? That's a part of the artwork of it, is that you're doing it with your own hands and creating these things, that it doesn't have to be exact measurement. I mean, it should be, right? Like if we're doing like production runs, but when you're creating, you should have that freedom. And so I think that's awesome.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, like it's not the product. I forgot her name. What's her name again?
Lucia.
Yeah, that's right. So Tammy's dirty in Spanish. So cute. So cute.
Yes.
Thank you for being featured on here. Your dog. And have you always wanted to incorporate your culture into fashion? Or is that something that you just thought of like afterwards, or how did that come out?
It's really interesting because when I was young, I didn't. I was something that I wanted to separate. And I think it was because this is when we get into the conversation about representation. Is like I never saw people who are in high fashion who are Indigenous. So I was talking with a friend that I think like the only person I ever saw was like Dorothy, and that's the only person that I can remember from when I was young who was a designer. So it was something that I always thought that I had to separate in order to kind of be successful. And then I remember when I was near the end of my schooling, my dad, how come you don't use these fabrics and how come you don't do this and like use part of your culture as your designs? And I was like, no, Dad, like I don't want to do that. And I was like really combative of it. And it was because you didn't see it. But then the more I moved, the harder it was for me to separate those parts of my life from my own work because my like everyday inspiration. And so at the same time, like as we get older, it becomes so much more important for us to have authenticity and to recognize who we are and where we come from and celebrate. Like when we were kids, it wasn't, I mean, if you think back just generation, it's not always been cool, you know what I mean? To like and so now we have an opportunity to do that and really talk about it and have people who listen and care what you're saying. And so in that way, I think that the older that I get, the more important it becomes to me to have those also me come together in this one thing. And then that's what makes you walk forward so authentically yourself that you're not trying to be somebody else. So it's like I actually, you know, because I think I wanted to fit in so bad with like designers in London, designers in Paris, and all these things, but that's not who I am. And now I'm so proud of my community and having people these kinds of conversations. So
and when I started getting out there and getting into social media, like I didn't really know that anybody was out there. And then once I found you, like I low-key looked up to you. I was like, oh, cool. Like there's somebody out there. And then I started seeing everybody else. Like there's more people out there. And I was like, whoa, there's like a big old community, like a lot more people. Like I would say like now in this time, there's a lot more people. And like, I never really thought that big for myself. I was just like, oh, let me just go to powwows or have a small little business. But I never thought that big yet. Like, cause I don't know. I guess I didn't give myself that, like to think bigger. Like I was just thinking small. And so like once I saw you and your brand and your clothing, I was like, man, that's so beautiful. Like, and she's out there. She's like, to me, you're big, you're out there. And so like you inspired me too. And it's pretty cool to see that. And just like you said, you know, there's more people out there. But I thought it was, when I was getting in or learning, I also thought like, oh, there's big people, like there's nobody out there that's Indigenous, a fashion designer, Indigenous person. And so I just like left it alone. I was like, okay, I'll let it be and I'll just do my little thing here. And I'm slowly thinking bigger, but I'm still like shy about it, or I'm like, and because I'm self-taught, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I don't do this or I don't fit in. But I'm like slowly building myself up to, it's like, no, I'm a self-taught, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I could be up there too. I could get myself up there, but it's just mine's just a different route. That's all. And it's cool.
I'd say like one roadmap, you know, there's not one, like I would look up to people and follow, but I'm not going to have the same opportunities that they have. I'm not going to have the same capital that they have. Like, and so there's your path and you walk your own path. And that's what's the most important thing that you can do, is just to represent yourself and do it in the best way for, you know,
and things will come around.
Yeah. And that's what makes everybody's story cool, you know, is that it's your story. No one's going to write a book about you followed this person's everything they did. Like,
yeah. And so you mainly use Pendleton, right? Pendleton fabric.
yeah, a lot of like for winter collections, I do all the coats and stuff out of Pendleton fabrics. Yeah, which is conversation recently, but I also have on my website also an explanation for that, because Pendleton is not an Indigenous owned company, and I do talk about it because because people will say like, well, why do you use it if it's not Indigenous owned? I'm from Oregon originally, so Pendleton, the woolen mills are also from Oregon. It's like over 150 years old, so there's that part of my life that's ingrained in that company as well. But then at the same time, it's still something that we all use as like this pan-Indigenous cultural indicators, and it's still widely used within our communities. And there's so many Indigenous designers that use the fabrics that are inspired by our own traditional work, and that profit off of it. So in a way, I think it's like a reclamation of those prints and patterns that we still use really, like readily, popularly in ceremony, in like traditions. Like my blanket on my couch right here, my dad gifted me when I graduated high school. Like it's still a part of our culture in a way. And so there's a sense of reclamation in using those fabrics. And they're a really sustainable company, which sustainability is like a cornerstone of my brand as well. And I think a lot about not only how things are created, but what their life will be and how they will go back into, like if they're put into a landfill or whatever. And there's like something circular about using like all natural materials, which I try to use only all natural materials, and Pendleton is wool and cotton blend, so it breaks down like in a few years after disposal, but it will last you for years and years and years also. Like I have a Pendleton coat my mom gave me that she's had since the 80s, and it's still in great shape. The linings the linings all deteriorated, but the coat itself is still in good shape. But
Wow.
Yeah,
and you do all your stuff, right? She has her small business, and she's done everything on her own. So that's something else too, that you put your time and your craft into that. And she makes some beautiful pieces, guys. You guys should check her out. And you name your website is EMME, EMME.
EMMEstudios.com. EMMEstudios.com.
Oh, okay. EMMEstudios.com.
Yeah.
You guys check her out.
I've done everything. So I built and designed the website. I take most of the photos. I'm tired.
If we were closer, I would love to help. I would help you out. Because I know, guys, when you guys have to do everything, we don't realize, or a lot of people out there don't realize either, but as the owners, you don't realize like what all in detail you have to do. Just like she said, she does the photography. You have to take pictures, you have to edit pictures, you have to pick out models, you have to figure out like where you're going to take the pictures, how you have to imagine it. And that's after you've already had to figure out what you're going to sew with what material, what pattern, how many sizes are you going to do. And then I would think there's more small details into that long list that I've already mentioned. But so when we finally reach the end and are able to post it on our websites, like that's a big accomplishment for us. And so if you hear us say we're tired, it's because there's a lot of things that you don't know what's going on in the background, guys. But we are very proud of our stuff that we make, that we post. And I luckily have Johnny that helps me because he handles the website.
Helps her and do everything.
He helps me.
One that does all the background stuff. That's the main problem.
He handles the finance,
everything,
the website.
Everything. I'm the business guy here.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the business guy. And
the one making deals in tribal council.
Let's see. So I have a few questions to ask you that I wrote down here. What were some of your challenges coming up with your brand? And once you, let's say, like being an Indigenous person getting out there, for anybody that's trying to get into fashion or is thinking about it, you know, once you just tell us what were some of your challenges, what advice would you give to those that want to go into it?
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, you know, I can't say my biggest challenge hasn't been money, and that's just like big part of it. Like, for some reason in fashion, like if you start other businesses, people always go, well, it takes money to make money, you know, and they'll give you some grace. But for some reason, as a fashion designer, people think you're just like born with money and you just can do whatever. And that's not been my experience at all. And it's been definitely the most challenging thing is that, you know, for the majority of the time that I've worked, and I think it's so important to be transparent about this kind of stuff now, because I remember when I was young and I would look up to people and I just didn't understand how they did it or how they got where they got. And like, so I was working nights when I was starting my clothing line. I mean, I was working all day, every day, just to be able to pay my rent, buy fabric, and do all the stuff that I do. And the majority of the reason that my brand started as a made to order brand is because I relied on the money from sales to buy the fabric to make the item.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that's something that I think is important to be transparent about, that you have to really work hard if you want to get to where you're going. It doesn't happen overnight. And I say, you know, what's felt like almost a decade-long failure has finally now, somehow my work has been catapulted into this spotlight that I've been so grateful for. But the work is what defines that success. It's not just suddenly that you got into a magazine. It's that I've been working for like 12, 15 years at this. And now that I have those opportunities, I'm prepared to take advantage of them. And so that's like the big thing that I say to people. Like, continue working, because you never know when the opportunity will come. But when it does, then you need to be ready.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like, I mean, that's the biggest challenge. And then also, you know, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't, now it's this weird, we're living in this interesting time of like transformation where a lot of like people of color, their voices are now being amplified and like brought into the spotlight, because there's so much demand in saying that there hasn't been this representation in these industries, and especially in fashion. It's still very it's not very diverse, you know. And it's becoming now, these people, like, so more people of color designers are coming to the forefront and being celebrated more, but they've been around for so long, you know. But it's like, who's the media giving attention to? And so now I feel like we're kind of getting, like, as far as like what my brand is, I'm getting more attention, but it's also because of the people that I work with, that I'm so grateful to be in the room and be in spaces with, and the community that I have, and the people who brought my name in some rooms that you know, I wouldn't have asked them to. Like my friend Marina, who worked at the UN, is the one who got me in touch with Slow Factory. She's Tewa, and so that was my connection there. You know, my friend Tanya Larson, who's an amazing designer, has suggested me to like Savannah Lyra Rose for like her chamber when she was on her Chambers press tour. And it's just like we all just kind of reached out to each other and like brought each other up. You know, instead of creating competition, we created community.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and that's how it happens. Like, you don't think about it as you, like, the way I see it is like, you know, when you grow up with your friends, you guys don't know what you're gonna do, but you eventually get into something and you help each other out. Like, one will help the other one out. You'll give a shout out to somebody because you're up there, and we like all go up together. We all pick each other up, and that's good. And thank you for that advice for all those out there. But if anything, guys, just do it. That's the first thing you have to do, is just start no matter what. Even if you fail, like I've had my challenges as well. I didn't know how to sew at all. And I just started sewing. I didn't know what I was doing. I'll mess up my clothes, mess up his regalia, but I would just practice, keep going. I practiced Google, YouTube. I mean, that's just like if you don't have the money to go to school, or if you don't have access to certain things, you can start off that way. And
no, drop a business plan. There's plenty of templates out there. Figure out your financial and sustainable income. Don't quit your job. Don't listen to this over here.
no, well, I didn't say quit your job. I didn't say quit your job. I said just start.
Careful.
Just start.
And get off the res. Do something.
No, I think you can still do it on the res.
We did do it on the res.
Oh my God. Do you have any questions for her?
Not yet. That was pretty good, what you said. That was a pretty good challenge right there.
Yeah. I did remember reading on one of your posts that you did work yourself up through your fashion. I mean, for your business, you had your jobs, and just like you explained it, how you were working to buy all your stuff, and that really opened up my eyes to it too. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one, or like, I'm not, like you said, I thought it was something that not given, or not that I had money, but I just didn't know all the struggles into it. I thought I was the only one. I was like, why isn't this happening, or why isn't that happening? But it takes time. We have to be consistent. You have to be patient, and you'll have your struggles, but it really enlightened me when I read your post. I was like, oh, okay, it's not just me. And so, like I said, like I was looking up to you and reading your stuff, like, okay, like, yeah, I could do it. Just keep going.
Yeah, totally. Then you get to see, sometimes you're like, look back a couple years and you're like, wow, I've really done a lot. And like, you can be really proud of yourself, and that feels good.
Yeah. I've seen it, like it has happened. So I like I will take in that moment. I was like, oh, I got through this. I could just keep going. Or sometimes I think, like, I don't know how I got through that point. I don't know how.
She did it.
Whatever.
Going crazy.
So can I go back into your dog for a little bit? Can we talk about your dog? She's so cute. Your AKA assistant. Hi. Okay. Can you share a little bit about her?
Yeah, so she's probably like 6 or 7 or so.
Oh.
And I adopted her 3 years ago. And she's the best decision I've ever made in my whole life. I like swear. Like I every day. She makes me laugh every day. She gets me outside every day. And that's like so important, especially now, because I work, like we were saying, like we'll work 24 hours a day unless somebody says stop. And she gets me to take breaks. Yeah, it's
oh, that's good.
Yeah, I love her. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. We need to always take a break, because we could keep going and going, or sometimes we're pushing ourselves so hard that we don't realize, like, we could be messing up because we're just tired or we haven't eaten. There's been times that I've gone through that too, and he would get me out of it, or he'll be like, hey, it's time to eat.
Like that.
Or,
get out of there.
or I'll be like, no, wait, I'm almost done. He's like, no, you gotta stop, put it down. Or I'll even work through, like, I'll put the kids to sleep.
That's because she made a mistake and she has to redo the whole entire thing countless times.
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
Different stitching.
I'm doing that right now. I just made a whole dress, and now I'm taking the entire thing apart because it's not right. So
what happened? What was wrong with it? Or what didn't you like about it?
It was too big, and then it was I cut the wrong size, so I needed to cut it down. And I also wanted to redo the facing. I didn't like the way the facing was, so then I redid the whole pattern, cut it, but then like tried to salvage the fabric. So I cut apart the fabric and then like redid. Yeah, it's like meticulous. But this second
It will. We always stress ourselves out, like, oh, it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna look right. But then once you start putting it all together, I was like, okay. Okay, it's gonna be not good. It's so good that I can share.
Yeah, I think
Stop that I can share these things with you.
Oh, I think it
Just up.
froze.
Let me see. So,
Oh wait, hey.
oh, did I freeze? Yeah, we're freezing up a little bit.
Yeah, you froze for a little bit.
Okay. So you let me see. I want to talk about a little bit about what you do. Like, what are your staple items? I know you do face mask, bucket hats, coats, purses. Am I missing anything else? I know you
Yeah, so
mentioned you were
like
doing a
right.
dress.
Yeah, I'm working on the spring collection, so which will hopefully be out in May. So I'm doing dresses, and then I'm doing really
Ooh.
lightweight coats, and I have like some linen. We're gonna try and do linen pants. Yeah, we're trying to basically do like a full capsule collection, and then I also do some up
Her t-shirts with her brand on it as well on there on her website. Um, and your mask. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I know that it came up big as the pandemic started, but there's more to that. You had it on your website for a while before the pandemic, and I know you were getting a little bit like a fire for that, but she had it on there.
Oh, yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. Now we can.
Yeah.
Did you hear me?
You keep cutting out, so I'm not sure if where we're at.
Oh,
The masks?
so I was pretty much saying, hopefully you could hear all of this. I was saying how I know you have a mask and some face masks, but you started doing your mask before the pandemic. And I wanted you to share the story behind them because I know you got a little bit of fire about them when the face masks were coming out, or like being in high demand because people were thinking you just came out with that then and there, but you had them for a while and there's more story behind your mask. And if you can share that with us.
Yeah, so I had the face masks I had originally made as a part of my 2019 anadromous collection, which was all like inspired by my fisherman lineage. And so the idea actually first came about. My friend was biking in winter, and so I was like, oh, I should make a wool face mask. That's such a good idea. So I had, and then out of the scrap material from one of the coats, I just decided to make a face mask and took a picture and put it on Instagram. And everyone was like, oh, I have to have one. Yeah, I really need one. Da, da, da. So I was like, all right. So photographed it as a part of the photo shoot, and then I put a couple online thinking like, oh, like people who are bicyclists or motorcyclists or whatever, fishermen or whatever will buy them. And then so that was in like September, and then the hit a few months after that, and it was like, so then all these orders came in, and I was completely hard, like, oh God, like I don't know, like this is not what I was prepared for. I mean, I was so grateful for it because I lost my job, my job, and so it really like it was able to like, sustain me throughout this past year. But it was crazy. It was crazy. And so I had to figure out real fast what the heck I was going to do, because I was just like one person with a sewing machine.
Yeah.
And I was able to hire somebody to help me, and she lived in Brooklyn as well. That was really
good.
Oh, yeah, that was like a huge help, but that was a really interesting experience for sure. Yeah. So I don't know if it was a premonition or what, but
Thanks.
but yeah, so supposed to be also just like a commentary, because we were doing, it was when the Coastal GasLink pipeline was being laid through Wet'suwet'en territory. And so I'm in a Indigenous Kinship Collective, which is kind of, we do direct action, education, and a lot of different things around like indigeneity and representation. And so I had also made the masks just because we were going to actions all the time. And so we were doing, street actions, whatever. And a lot of people who were doing direct action were like, oh yeah, I totally want one of those face masks. So that was like another part of the story. So yeah, it's kind of got a long story. And then I was like, is it something that I'm going to keep after this? And I think I'm going to keep them online, just even if it's like almost a museum thing, if they don't sell any, I'm still going to keep them online. Yeah.
They're beautiful. They're nice. They look very sturdy too. I've been meaning to get one. And
yeah, we should.
Huh?
We should do a trade.
Oh, heck yeah. Yes. Okay, we'll talk about that after.
Take all the inventory here.
Let me see. We pretty much talked about everything. Did you want to share anything else? Throw in some other information. I know you say you're part of some other organizations. If you want to share those, speak on them.
Yeah, so I'm in Indigenous Kinship Collective. Right now, we're still doing a lot of mutual aid work during this time. We've redistributed over $60,000 in funds. So that's been really cool to be able to help communities. And a lot of people do direct mutual aid support here in Brooklyn to folks who are unsheltered. And so you can follow it's at Indigenous Kinship Collective on Instagram and see what we do. I also work with a sustainability literacy nonprofit that we do open education courses. So I just recently taught a class on fashion and distance, and I talked about the use of the red dress to bring awareness to murdered Indigenous women, trans girls, and Two-Spirit people. So that class is actually free, available online at slowfactory.foundation. And so I serve on the board with them. It's just a great educational program to learn more about sustainability and just see the different initiatives that we're working on. And we're working on a project coming up that's about waste-led design with a waste management company. So I'm going to be helping out with that.
You said waste-led?
Waste-led, yeah. So like waste, like something that somebody would consider waste, we're going to turn it into fashion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so and then you can follow them at the Slow Factory on Instagram.
Slow Factory.
And those are all also in my bio too, so you can follow them.
Okay.
And we still have an ongoing project as well with a bunch of people, a bunch of different artists and doctors and designers and whoever, called the Indian Asian Project. And it's a solidarity project between Asian and Indigenous people, and to talk about how our communities have been impacted. And it's an ongoing art project, and anybody can join to design like an art piece that's a face mask. You can find that in my bio as well and read more about how to join that ongoing art project. But I think that's it. I don't know.
All right, let me just read some comments on here, see if anybody had questions or what's going on over here. Okay, let's see. Hi, Mr. Jet and Jasmine. Let me see. R. Warner, thank you for the bear mask. You're welcome. Glad you liked it. Let's see. Mr. Jet and Jasmine said they love linen.
Oh, cool.
Do you mainly focus what do you mainly focus on with your line? Or do you just touch in on everything?
Like clothing wise, like
Product
item
Yes.
wise?
Sorry, yeah, product wise.
Yeah, I mean, I because I like to design full collections. I try to do a lot of different things, but the main thing that I'm most comfortable making and that I do the most is my coats. Yeah, so my big season.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They are beautiful.
Okay.
What was I trying to get last time? I was trying to get, or I seen one of your purses, and you guys better be quick if you guys want something of hers, because they went quick. I was too late for that, and I was like, all right, next time around.
She don't go anywhere anyway, so she don't need no purse.
Saving it for when I do. I'm
The
building
purse
up.
and diaper bag.
Yeah, we need a new diaper bag.
Order it right there.
I gotta go to emmestudios.com first.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to see like if I had to ask you anything else, or I've seen some of your pictures of you dancing when you were younger. You're a fancy show dancer. What? Me? Oh,
I did judo back in the day. That was actually
judo,
the first dress I ever. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think I made it when I. Yeah.
Oh.
That was good. That was a good time in life. Just dancing at pop.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, cute.
No. No. Where did you say you were from? Where is that at from where you're at now? How far?
It's 3,000 miles.
Oh.
So, yeah,
Oregon and New York.
Oregon State, which is in the Pacific Northwest. Now I live on.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I totally missed that. I said, I don't know why.
She's from Oregon to New York. Come on, lady.
I'm like, oh.
Just down the road.
Just, yeah. 40.
Whoops.
About 5 hours on the plane.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I pretty much asked you everything I wanted to know and learn about you, and everybody else can get to know you and your business a little more too. Did you have any other questions?
No, that was good. Just occupied by the kids and listening.
Again, did you have any last words or last saying?
No, I guess I'll just say how it's up to you guys, and thank you so much for having me today. And like, it's really good to talk to you and to check in with you guys and make sure everything's good. And
we're still alive.
So thank you.
Let's see your fingers. She's always complaining about her
My
fingers.
Because they hurt. It's either the scissors or it's either by using the little clippers or by holding all the fabric down.
Oh yeah, same. I mean, they're like they're gonna be a nightmare when I get older.
Oh, I know. I didn't think about that.
You're gonna be crippled and
dingy.
Yeah, and dingy. A bad memory.
You know what? Let me open this up for the viewers. If anybody has any questions for us or Korina, you guys could put them in the comment while we're still on here. I know there's only
Oh, my friend.
Aw. Let me see. Okay, Sam, Sierra. Yeah, we just had a few people say hi here and there. They love your work.
Richmond. Often.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, my friend Dea is current inspirations or future collection. So like right now I'm working on it's called Obsidian Flow. And so it's all like the last collection I did was called Mother of Waters, and it was based on the mountain in my homelands called, well, its colonial name is Mount Rainier, but it's an active volcano. And so the collection that I'm doing now is called Obsidian Flow. So it's like after the volcanoes erupted, kind of. So it's all by the big Obsidian Flow where we used to go hiking when I was a kid off like Puyallup Peak, and just inspired by that mountain. And
cool.
Yeah, just the.
So does it touch up on like darker colors?
Yeah, it's going to be mostly black and white, and then with sage like brush color green, and like brush color yellow, and brush color orange. So it's a little bit like dustier colors. Cool. And some more, and some. Oh, and I actually teamed up with Jennifer Younger, who's Tlingit, and she did some jewelry that we collabed on. So that'll be available also. So I'm really excited to share that work.
And that will be available in May?
Yeah, it should be available in May. We're hopefully the beginning of May, but you know, who knows?
Things will come up.
Yeah.
And
but I'll be.
And that's part with the linen pants, right?
Yeah, the linen pants will be there.
Okay, yeah. Somebody asked when that will be available. That's also in May.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, guys. We're just going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you again, Korina, for taking time out of your day, out of your busy day. It was nice to finally meet you like this in person. Well, not in person, but like on social media. But it was nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll see you in New York.
All right, bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Let's see. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for joining us on episode 14 on the talking stick with Korina Emmerich.
Indigenous fashion. Pretty good learning. All right, guys.
Bye.